Mr. Bonhovis.
Goodness me, early bird. What time is it?
Look at your watch, Mr. Bonhovis. What does it say?
Well, would you look at that? It says it's a brand new day.
I'm Jovis Bonhovis, and this here's the creation crew. When we want to say welcome, we're gonna have fun with you. Welcome from early bird, welcome from Boogie World, welcome from Dora Mouse, welcome from Woody Loud, welcome from everyone in the creation crew. So come on in, we're glad to see you. Yes, we are. Come on in.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's great to see you here. Thanks for coming. My name is Jovis Bonhovis. This is my house, and these guys, these are the creation crew. Do you know, if you stick around with us, you can be in the creation crew too. We're going to have some fab fun today.
We always do. Fab fun. Monkey business too.
Oh, monkey business. I like a bit of monkey business. What kind of stuff are we going to do, Monkey?
Awesome story.
Awesome story.
Crazy song or something.
Yeah, I like the sound of a crazy song.
Some kind of a fun crafty thing or some fun drawing.
A fun activity like some fun craft or fun... I like fun, I love fun. Let's do fun.
Mr. Bonhovis, hello there.
All right, Bookieworm. If you don't mind being quick, see, I'm just planning the show. Tremendozy stories, bing, bing, bing. Excellent fun activities. Crazy music, it's going to be so cool today.
As it happens, I was just wondering if you needed any help. I have some ideas to put forward you may wish to. I really don't see what's so funny.
With all due respect, Bookieworm, I think I've got it covered, you see. I have a brand new hypertronic, all-electric, ding, 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 collapsible, interactive, dynamic, universal, awesome oracle pad with underwater escape kit. I really don't think I need your help.
I see. It seems very, interesting. I must just say, though, I've been in the story business for some time now, and I am something of an expert.
Ding! Bookieworm, if I could just explain something for a moment. This thing does everything, see? Check it out. Check this out.
Aren't you making those noises yourself?
Well, yeah, it's interactive, but I just launched a rocket.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yes. You see, Bookie? No! I have the awesome pad now. I really don't need your help. You know, if I can just make a comparison. Awesome pad! Worm in a book. Awesome pad! Worm in a book. Awesome! Worm.
Oh.
Awesome! Worm.
Boy, that was a bit harsh.
Well, he needs to move with the times. Things are changing. People are changing. Look, I've got a great story right here. Well, this story is called Bobbie Bunny's New Train Set. There was nothing in the world that Bobbie Bunny loved more than playing with trains.
Playing with trains?
Wooden ones, or imaginary ones, or big sit-on ones, or even pink girly princess ones. Yeah, Bobbie Bunny loved everything to do with trains. Oh, I quite like trains too. People are always dropping their bits of sandwiches on the floor and I can gobble them up. Yummy, yummy.
Oh.
I don't think that's why Bobbie likes trains, Woody Louse. If you were ever looking for Bobbie, you'd always be sure to find him with his three friends, Dora Dung-Beetle, Huxley Hornbill and Sally Snake.
Sally Snake?
With their best wooden train set. Do you know Sally?
No, but it's a funny name.
Isn't it, though, Sally Snake? They always played so well together, though, because they'd all collected pieces from matching wooden train sets, you see. They all fit together.
Very nice.
Well, they played on a Saturday at Huxley Hornbill's house. Well, I'll tell you, you've never seen anything like it. Dora Dung-Beetle had a collection of scenery.
Oh, lovely.
Yep, she brought rivers, ponds, trees, mountains. Sally Snake, she collected all the people and animals for the train set. She had children and aunts and uncles and deer and birds and fish for Dora's rivers and streams. Probably monkeys as well.
Monkeys?
You never know. Huxley Hornbill brought buildings and vehicles. He had helicopters and hotels, boats and boarding schools, everything you could possibly imagine. Lastly, of course, Bobbie Bunny. Now, he brought the trains and track. There were platforms and turntables, steamies and diesels, carriages and engines of every description. And when they put them all together, it was a train set you could only ever dream of.
Wow.
Well, one Saturday morning as usual, Dora, Huxley and Sally called on Bobbie to come and play. But this morning, he just opened the door a crack. Like that. He poked his little waffly nose out and said, "I won't be coming out to play today."
Why?
Well, I'm a grown-up now and I have an electric train set. It's very special and I don't need the silly wooden one anymore.
That's not silly.
No, it's not silly. I don't want to play with you anymore. Goodbye. And with that, he handed his friends all his own wooden trains and track and shut the door.
Oh, dear.
Next Saturday, they called for him again. "I told you," he said. "I don't need to play with you anymore. I'm all grown up. I have an electric train set now."
That's not very nice.
No, and he told them to go away again, and away they went. Well, the next Saturday, it was beginning to feel to Bobbie Bunny like he was a little bit lonely.
Cool.
Maybe if they behaved themselves very well and didn't touch anything, he might let Dora Dung-Beetle, Huxley Hornbill and Sally Snake in, just to have a little look at the train set.
I should think so.
Well, do you know what? Bobbie waited and waited, but they didn't come. They'd got the message. They'd gone to play without him. Surely they just didn't want to play with that old wooden train set when he'd got a proper electric one. Bobbie Bunny slipped on his shoes and made his way down the street to Huxley Hornbill's house. He didn't knock on the door at first. He silently peeked through the window where nobody could see him. And there they all were, laughing and playing together with the old wooden train set.
Oh, no.
But without him. Suddenly, Bobbie Bunny knew exactly what he wanted. Yes, it wasn't a new electric train set.
What was it then?
It was his friends. He felt a little cross with them for having all that fun without
Yes,
him.
so would I.
Yeah, but he knew it was his fault. So he knocked on the door and gave them all a great big, "I'm sorry. Can I please come and play with you? It's not so great having a new electric train set when there are no friends to share it with."
Yeah, true.
So there they were again, all the friends with the old wooden train set having a wonderful time together.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, that was a nice story. That daft Bobbie Bunny. I can't imagine treating his friends like that.
Terrible.
What a terrible thing to do.
Terrible.
And I think anybody who treats their friends like that should have no chocolate for a week, monkey. That's what I say. No chocolate for a week for Bobbie Bunny. Naughty rabbit.
Mr. Bonhavius, can I talk to you, please?
Hello, Dora Mouse, my beautiful friend. What did you want to talk to me about?
It seems to me that Bobbie Bunny is a bit like someone I know.
Oh, in what way, Dora Mouse?
Being mean to his friends because he thinks he doesn't need them anymore.
I know, what a rotter, eh? Who would do such a thing?
You would, Mr. Bonhovis.
Me? What do you mean?
Buckyworm's your good friend, Jovis.
Yes.
You made them feel horrible.
Oh, how come?
You chose that silly awesome pad instead of your real friend.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the awesome thing with the rockets and underwater interactive things... Oh, Dora, oh no, I've blown it again, haven't I?
What did you say, Jovis? No chocolate for a week?
Did I say that? Oh dear. Hey, Dora, I know what'll cheer him up. What about a nice song to show him I love him?
That's a fabbo-dabbo idea. Let's do it.
Here's a great song to sing to your friend. Oh, friend, I would never want to make you sad. My friend, being with you makes me glad. So glad that I've got a friend like you. So be sure that you know that this is true. When I say, friend, I love you dearly. Friend, I love you really. My friend, I want to let you know you mean the world to me. My friend, that's what you'll always be. Dear friend, you know I care about how you feel. And I know you care, that's what gives your friend a feel. You look after me, and I look after you. 'Cause you're my friend, and that's just what friends do. You know, my friend, I love you dearly. Friend, I love you really. My friend, I wanna let you know you mean the world to me. My friend, that's what you'll always be. Oh, friend, I would never want to make you sad. My friend, being with you makes me glad. So glad that I've got a friend like you. So be sure that you know that this is true. When I say, friend, I love you dearly. Friend, I love you really. My friend, I want to let you know you mean the world to me. My friend, that's what you'll always be. Dear friend, you know I care about how you feel. And I know you care, that's what gives your friend a feel. You look after me, and I look after you. 'Cause you're my...
Oh, I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person with no chocolate. No chocolate at all. Oh.
Yes, you are a terrible person.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bonhovis, it's easy to forget sometimes how important friends are. It doesn't mean you're a terrible person.
She's right, Jovis, but you better go and make friends with Bookieworm. You sure did upset him.
Yeah, you're right. Watch this. I'll make his door open.
What? Who did that?
Oh, Bookieworm, it was me. You know what? I really am an incredible rotter, aren't I?
Oh, Jovis, you know we all love you, but it really seems that sometimes you just don't think through your choices. And when you're not careful, you can end up hurting people.
Yeah, I know, Bookieworm. That's the thing, isn't it? You see, you've been in the book industry for years. I've known you for such a long time. Anything you don't know about books just isn't worth knowing. And I went to this silly toy instead of coming to you, my friend. I'm really sorry, Bookieworm.
Thank you so much for saying that, Jovis. It makes the world of difference.
Yeah, no, so I had to be said, Bookieworm. There's something else as well, just one more thing.
Anything for you, Jovis.
I was just wondering, have you got any chocolate?
Oh, you.
You know what? It's really important that we treat our friends well. It's important that they treat us well as well. I've got 3 friends called Betsy, Bella and Flossie, and they have a lovely time together walking the dog. I think we should go outside and have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
Should we go and have a look? Through the window!
There's my dog. His name is Charlie, and we are going to go and take him for a walk. My sisters are called Bella and Flossie, and my name is Betsy. We're going to the woods. There's my little dog Charlie. A leaf that's very colourful. And look, I found loads of ladybirds hiding behind the bridge. My little sister Flossie is picking up some leaves and she's throwing them in the water. That's the stream that she was throwing them in. She thinks it's very funny. I was just climbing the tree then. Me and Bella are going over the stile. Look, we found a mushroom. Sometimes I have to help my little sisters to get up the hill. That's my dog Charlie trying to get the stick off me, but then I let him have it. Dog Charlie likes to splash around in the water. Look out, here he comes! I love wearing my wellies in the wood and doing a bit of squelching. Squelch, squelch, squelch. Everybody's tired now, so we're going to take the dog home. Bye!
Oh, what about that? That was fun, wasn't it, early bird? I couldn't believe all those ladybirds huddled up cosy like that together. I've never seen anything like that, have you?
Made me want to get out and about, that did. I need to go and stretch my wings. I think I saw my cousin Crow.
Yeah.
I might go and pay him a visit.
Sounds good. Do you know what? Friendships are like anything else, aren't they? We need to look after them. Look after our friendships.
Oh, those woods. That leaf litter looked so cold and dark and stinky. Lovely.
Oh, well, I suppose you are a woodlouse after all.
Oh, I think I might hitch a ride with Early Bird later. Go for a swing in those trees. Feel the breeze through my stripy fur.
Fantastic, Monkey. You know what? It sounds like everybody wants to go for a walk in those woods.
Yeah, it does.
It certainly does. And it just reminds me how important friendships are. But it's not just us lot who say that. God says friendships are important too. You know, that's something that God's put inside us. It's not just us lot who say friends are important. It's in the Bible. Honestly, don't believe everything I say. It's scripture time! Get your Bible. Get it. Oh, yeah. Do you know why I'm saying this? I could tell you, listen up, Monkey. I could tell you Noah was a cowboy.
A cowboy? Noah?
Noah. I could tell you that he kept all kangaroos.
No, he didn't.
I could tell you all those kangaroos drank ginger beer. Ginger beer, Monkey.
Ginger beer?
Is it in the Bible? Let's have a look.
No way.
Noah.
No.
Kangaroos.
No.
Ginger beer.
No.
It's not in there. God says friendship is important. Let's have another look, shall we? Oh, see if I might have just marked something up here earlier for us. That's it. John 15:14. Jesus says, "You are my friends."
Wow.
That's the Son of God. That's Jesus Christ. That's wonderful. You are my friends if you do what I command.
Ooh.
Yeah, amazing. It sounds a little bit bossy, that, doesn't it? If you do what I command. But he is the boss. So it's all right.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's my boss.
Right, we're going to do something great fun today, boys and girls, just so that you can show everybody that your friends are welcome in your room. The first thing that you're going to need is a pair of scissors. Now, I strongly suggest that you do not use a ginormous pair of metal scissors like this, so get your mum and dads to help you out or use proper safe scissors. You're going to need some glue. You're going to need a paintbrush and a pot of water and a selection of your favourite coloured paints. Now, the shape of your door hanging should be around about the same size as the words that you're going to want to fit onto it. So I'm just cutting this straight out of my pad here like this. Get some of your paper, cut a little piece out about this big, cut it in half, fold it in half, and then we're going to cut out half of the shape that we want. In this case, I'll do half a circle. Watch closely and you'll see how you can make the perfect heart. I'm going to start off cutting upwards, and then I'm going to come around and I'm going to cut it all the way down there into that point. Look closely. Now watch what happens when I open it out. Oh, look at that beautiful little heart. So now you've got two lovely stencils right there. Make sure you press your stencils tightly against your wall hanging, otherwise it'll leak and bleed over the edges a bit too much, okay? And then just brush lightly over the top like so.
I love painting.
I think if I put a little bit less water on my brush, I might have a better effect. Now what we're going to do is cut out our letters. I'm going to do mine quite jiggly, just so that we can crack on and get it done.
Jiggly. Oh, that looks difficult.
Oh, it's easy enough. And remember, it doesn't matter if you get it all a bit mixed up. Here we go. I've done all my letters already. OK. Friends! And I'm going to write here in my best writing, just to save space, always welcome, which is the point of today's show. Right. Now, watch this. First of all, I'm going to glue my letters down with my lovely gloopy glue. Right, so let's start off by putting dabs of glue on here, which I should be able to squeeze out of my glue pot. How are yours getting on there, Monkey? I hope you're following my instructions properly, are you?
Perfectly. I'm following your instructions just right.
Glad to hear it. We don't want you making any messes.
It's a masterpiece.
Oh, I can't wait to see yours. Look, I'm nearly done. I've just got my S to put down. Now, this is the clever bit. What we're going to do is we're going to use a technique called dry brushing. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to almost get rid of almost all my paint. And it's just a cool way of making the edges of the letters stand out from the background.
This is so fun.
There we go. So just keep going up against those edges until you're getting all those little bits of paint off. And can you see how those letters are standing out? Of just making it really stand out in a way that you just couldn't have done if you'd just painted these letters on, you see. That one's worked really nicely. Look, that was a great colour. Look how well that F stood out. So now I can just use this to stick that little bit of paper to the back of your sign, which acts exactly like string. So now, simple as that, in just a few minutes, you've got a funky friends always welcome door sign. What about that, eh?
Oh, yeah, wow.
Friends always welcome, and that's a message that you always want to give.
Let's have a look at yours, Monkey.
Ta-da!
What's that, Monkey? The end? Oh, yes, it is the end. That's the end of the show. Well, we'll see you next time, boys and girls, with me, Jovis Bonhovis, and these guys, the Creation Crew. Bye!